Let's explore Agile budgeting and discover funding models that are compatible with Agile approaches. We'll compare traditional methods with Agile strategies, revealing how to shift from project-based to product-based funding, and emphasize the importance of focusing on outcomes rather than just outputs. In traditional funding, the scope, time, and budget are all fixed. However, Agile funding is adaptive and aligned with value delivery. Discover the challenges and solutions in Agile budgeting. The traditional budgeting system presents several hurdles, including annual budget cycles that often conflict with Agile iterations, detailed upfront planning that creates a false sense of certainty, fixed scope, time and cost constraints that limit adaptability, project-based funding that overlooks the product lifecycle, and capital expense accounting requirements. Agile budgeting solutions include incremental funding, which aligns with value delivery, capacity-based funding for stable teams, value-based metrics instead of output metrics, decentralized decision-making for faster pivots, and continuous portfolio management and prioritization. Let's explore some Agile funding models. The first one is capacity-based funding, where instead of funding projects, you fund stable teams. Allocate budget to cross-functional teams that deliver value continuously across multiple iterations. This approach offers benefits such as a stable team composition, reduced administrative overhead, faster response to changing priorities, and improved team morale and productivity. The second model is incremental funding. Here, funds are released in stages based on demonstrated value and validated learning, with each increment requiring proof of progress and value delivery. This reduces financial risk, allows for early identification of non-viable initiatives, encourages a focus on value delivery, and aligns with Agile's iterative approach. The third one is value-based funding. Allocate resources based on expected business value. Initiatives with higher return on investment potential receive priority funding, with continuous reassessment. The benefits include maximizing return on investment, focusing the organization on value creation, supporting data-driven decision-making, and encouraging innovation with measurable outcomes. Here are some other Agile funding models. Beyond budgeting is a management model that replaces traditional budgeting with adaptive processes, relative targets, and continuous planning. It focuses on decentralized decision-making and dynamic resource allocation. This model eliminates the bureaucracy of annual budgeting, enables continuous adaptation to market changes, empowers teams with decision authority, and promotes innovation and experimentation. Lean portfolio management aligns strategy and execution by applying lean and systems thinking to strategy formulation, portfolio planning, and funding allocation across the enterprise. This leads to strategic alignment across the organization, optimized resource utilization, reduced waste in portfolio management, and a balance between innovation and operational excellence. Finally, the venture capital model treats internal initiatives like startups, with seed funding for exploration, followed by additional rounds based on validated learning and growth metrics. This encourages entrepreneurial thinking, limits initial investment until a proof of concept is established, creates healthy internal competition for funds, and balances risk across a portfolio of initiatives. Here is a step-by-step implementation guide for Agile budgeting. First, assess current budgeting practices and identify pain points. Second, educate leadership on Agile funding principles and benefits. Third, select appropriate funding models for your organization. Fourth, start with a pilot program for a specific product or value stream. Fifth, define new metrics focused on outcomes and value delivery. Sixth, establish governance that balances autonomy with accountability. Seventh, gradually expand to other parts of the organization. And finally, continuously improve based on feedback and results. Let's see how to measure success with Agile budgeting metrics. We need to avoid traditional metrics such as budget variance between planned and actual, resource utilization percentages, project completion percentage, adherence to predefined scope, and the number of features delivered. Instead, use value-based Agile metrics, including customer satisfaction and engagement, business value delivered per iteration, time to market for new capabilities, return on investment, innovation rate and experimentation, and team happiness and sustainability. Here's an example of how to calculate return on investment in an Agile investment. First, calculate the initial cost by adding up the team costs, tooling, and training investments. Next, determine the value delivered by adding up the revenue, cost savings, and risk reduction. Finally, the return on investment is calculated by subtracting the initial cost from the value delivered, dividing by the initial cost, and multiplying by 100. Let's explore real-world case studies of Agile budgeting. In a large global bank, the annual budgeting cycle created bottlenecks in digital transformation initiatives. To solve this, they implemented quarterly funding cycles with capacity-based allocation to stable product teams and established lightweight business cases focused on outcomes rather than detailed requirements. This resulted in a reduced time to market by 60%, an increase in customer satisfaction scores by 25%, improved team engagement and retention, and reduced administrative overhead by 40%. In another case, a national healthcare provider struggled to secure funding for innovation initiatives due to uncertain return on investment and long approval processes. To address this, they adopted a venture capital model with seed funding for proof of concepts, followed by incremental funding based on validated learning and customer feedback. The results were significant as they launched 3 times more innovation initiatives, failed fast on non-viable concepts saving millions, developed 2 breakthrough digital health solutions, and created a culture of experimentation and learning. Here are the key takeaways. Traditional budgeting conflicts with Agile principles and hampers adaptability. Agile funding models focus on value delivery rather than fixed scope. Incremental funding reduces risk and enables faster pivots. Stable teams with capacity-based funding improve productivity, and value-based metrics drive better decision-making. As next steps, first, evaluate your current budgeting process and identify constraints. Second, select a pilot area to experiment with Agile funding approaches. Third, engage finance and leadership teams in Agile education. Fourth, define value-based metrics for your organization. And finally, start small, learn, and gradually expand successful practices. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.